Welcome to Friday Night Prime Time. Welcome to the Porsche iRacing Cup, and welcome to Mount Panorama, Bathurst. We have got qualifying underway. We'll be going racing in just a few minutes' time on Friday Prime Time, the race that you, the iRacing community, voted for to be your race of the week. We start next. Welcome to the mountain. Welcome to Mount Panorama, Bathurst, Australia. The Porsche iRacing Cup here on iRacing Live and RaceBot TV. Will Vincent along with Connery and Maddock. Connery, I'm back.
The one, the only Mr. Will Vincent is in fact back for Friday Night Prime Time.
Indeed so. It's been a manic couple of months, but I am proud to say that I am back. We are ready for action here today at Mount Panorama. Porsches going around this racetrack. And again, I was talking off air, Connery, about Scotty McLaughlin getting the fastest ever lap in a V8 supercar around this track just a few days ago. But, I mean, we've also got GTs that race here. And the Porsches, the Ferraris, they all fight at it. And this is going to be a great little race to watch.
Yep, it really is. 14 laps, and well, I doubt I'd survive 14 laps running on my own rather than 14 laps in a race with other cars around me, but that's a different issue. But I'm just looking at some of these qualifying laps from some of these top guys, and it just seems like coming across the top of the mountain, they're basically getting close enough to the wall that iRacing has said they brushed the wall and it plays the sound effect. That's how close these guys are getting to get the maximum lap time out of these cars on track.
Yeah, indeed. So this is a tough racetrack. 23 corners. Start off at Hell Corner. Work yourself up the mountain through famous sites like Solomon Park, McFinley Park, down towards Skyline, and down you go towards the Dipper, through Forest Elbow, then the Chase. And the Chase, I would argue, Connery, is one of the most difficult race corners in the world. Put it right up there with turn number 1 of Indianapolis. Put it up there with Air Rouge in Belgium. Put it up there with Das Carousel at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, I think you really do have to. It's especially difficult if you're in a car that, well, the braking distance is a little bit longer and you're actually trying to brake on the right-hand kink as well. That's always very tricky. But in other cars, even if you have short braking distance, it is a very short time to straighten yourself out and get yourself down on towards the brakes for the final chicane. And it's also one of the final overtaking opportunities on this whole track. So expect a last lap dive from P2 on P1 if they're close enough coming towards the end.
Drafting will happen on both Mountain Straightaway and Conrad Straight. Here is a look at your starting grid for this evening's event, and it is Joshua Anderson then who will start on pole position, qualifying time of 2:07.881. Angela Merkel alongside him on the front row of the grid, almost a quarter of a second back. Jeremy Ravon in third place, and then Bruno Fontabla in P4. And then you can see row number 3, row number 4 on your screen as we speak, Connery. It's a 21 car field here today, but these drivers are going to go at it for every single position.
Yep, they are, and that's really a requirement. It's really a thing that you have to do around this circuit, and going side by side on what is quite rightfully called Monaco on a mountain. The mountain section here at this racetrack is sometimes a very scary prospect, but we'll be having more Bathurst action in the coming weeks because we have the iRacing Bathurst 1000, and well, can someone put in the lap of the gods like Scott McLaughlin, well, and then end up taking a race win, which Scott McLaughlin didn't do. But again, iRacing Bathurst 1000 coming up soon.
Yeah, indeed. So catch it on iRacing Live, brought to you by our partners and our friends over at V8 Online. And one driver will have the opportunity to do a pole position lap of the gods, just like what Scotty did just literally 6 days ago. But also, as you say, the opportunity to win the Bathurst 1000 is one of the crown jewels on all of iRacing. For the time being, however, we focus ourselves down at the starting grid. Drivers are lining themselves up, getting themselves ready to go racing. Waiting still for the pole position driver, Joshua Anderson. He has not yet got himself to the grid, but he will do in just a couple of seconds' time. There, you can see, though, the front of your grid as it stands. You've got yourself Angela Merkel there on position now. Almost all the drivers are on the grid, and we are almost ready to go for 14 laps of racing here at Mount Panorama. This is Friday night prime time. We are glad that you are with us. Engine notes rise. Lights on. Let's go racing at Mount Panorama towards turn number 1. They will come for the first time. Anderson has the advantage of scrambling for P2 for a moment there, but they are all settled down into position as they head themselves down into Mountain Straight for the first time. You've got yourself Anderson leading from Mikel, from Ravon as the top 3, then still decide to scrap it out. We're on board right now with the driver in P number 7. That is Aero Tourman as he comes down into quarry for the first time, listening for sounds of crashes, and we don't have any yet.
We have cars pushing wide, but no crashes just yet. That was Johan Hart in the number 9, just pushing it a little bit wide, letting the number 20 of Michael Messing through as they head up the mountain for the first time, all single file as far as I can see, but a little bit of gaggle back in the back. Here comes 11 up the inside at the cutting, though. There's Julian Gronen trying to make a move happen over Marco Pagna. This is down through the field a little bit as they squabble to sort themselves out.
Yeah, indeed so. So we are working ourselves on lap number 1 here of 12 even, let's say, at Mount Panorama right now. Don't forget, live timing and scoring is available as we go on board then with your race leader, the driver of Joshua Anderson, as he heads himself through Skyline into the Essex for the first time towards the Dipper, which is the right-hand corner that is coming up now. So, the right-hander, then into the Dipper, the left-hand corner, turn number 18, now into Forest Elbow. The gap he's got between himself and Angela Merkel is currently scored at 0.8 of a second, Connery.
Yeah, that is a very good opening lap for the number 3 machine. And, well, Michel's going to gain that a little bit back on this very long back straight here, coming down towards the chase, but not going to be gaining enough, I don't think. So, Michel at the risk of losing the draft at this moment in time. And, well, it wasn't really the greatest of starts from Michel. Had to throw a defensive move on Jeremy Ravon at the start, coming down into Hell's Corner for the first time. But right now, they've managed to close the gap over the past couple of corners, so it's not over yet for Michel to go and look for the race win right now, as this seems like he's a little bit faster, at least in the corners, but well, maybe a little bit of a lower downforce setup on that number 3 machine at the front, just keeping it very, very quick in a straight line, side by side into turn number 1, 7 and 6. This is Kondrashov versus Tumanen, and Tumanen will get the run off the corner. Driver's left-hand side it has to be for the Finnish driver.
Indeed. So then, so there is what we're looking at. We have just lost our timing and scoring graphic, so we do apologize for that one. But the car you're looking at then on the inside is that number 7 machine. He is trying to find a way past. Round the outside he will go. He gets a position then down on the exit of Quarry in towards the cutting. They come right now. Got to go single file there. And all of a sudden, Truman is ahead of the driver of Mark Matten, but he's still behind the driver of Vitali Koshinov. That's what I've been talking about.
Whoa, big wreck up front.
Oh, yeah.
Number 2.
That is the number 2 machine. You can see it there. That is Bruno Fontabula, and he is going to be out of this event. Replay up for you right now.
Oh, and there was a car behind that got himself involved in that one. It was a single car incident initially for the number 2, just taking a bit too much of the apex, misjudging the apex, hitting that inside concrete wall, and then just collecting Morten Roska in the number 8. He goes tumbling and tumbling and tumbling. No one else involved, I don't think, but that was a scary incident.
Yeah, let's ride this one on board then with Morten Roska and just see what happens. Curve into the wall, upside down goes Morten, and that is him out of this motor race as well. 2 drivers out. You got yourself Ronka, you got yourself Fontana, both out of the motor race as it stands right now. And Connery, we were joking about this off air as well, the fact that, you know, this racetrack, surviving laps alone is an important thing. Doing that with traffic around you, it's a hard one.
It's one of the most difficult racing circuits in the whole of motorsports. It's right up there with Monaco, and well, there's absolutely no room for error. Those barriers come up on you very, very quickly, and if you misjudge the corner by a centimeter, half a centimeter, with how close these guys are running to the wall, that could mean race-ending incident. On
board then with Angela Mikel, he has actually gained a couple of tenths of a second. The gap between these 2 drivers is currently scored as 6 tenths of a second. Through Mountain Straight towards Quarry, turn number 2 on the racetrack. Behind, however, we've also got ourselves Michael Messing battling out with the driver of Half right now. Let's go on board with the driver of Michael Messing as he's involved in that battle right now. Jonas Half, a lot of French drivers in this race today. That's an interesting one, Connery. The French club seems to have come out trying to take over Mount Panorama.
Yeah, and if I'm looking at this correctly, the French vast outnumber the amount of, well, the Australians and New Zealanders that are currently out there on track. Of course, it's not entirely the correct time zone for the Australians to be competing in this, but it's nice to see the kind of a return of French sim racing. We've been seeing that over the past couple of months, and it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, the likes of Dennis Garisi, for example, and his team over at Vortex Sim Racing, a big part of the iRacing stable in 2017. Just having a look down through the field, you've got a nice little scrap going on. They actually are going right at it in towards Skyline. There is the driver, and he's ahead now of Andrew Brown versus Marco Pagna. They've been going at it for the last couple of corners. Replay coming up for you. Let's see if we can see anything around here, because these 2 were going at it on the run down in towards Skyline. I think that the driver of Pagna just lost his way down at McFinley Park.
Yep, just drifted a little bit wide on the apex, and well, Andres Brown just slipped his way through on the exit of McPhillamy Park, and I don't think Pagna was really going to fight that one all that much. He's going to head side by side now with another driver. That's Steve Clays, number 16, just heading his way by, so not a great lap so far, you have to say, for the number 19. Let's hope he can recover and get those positions back.
Doesn't get the draft, the straightaway speed as they come down into the chase.
He's nursing damage.
Yeah, he has got some damage. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised maybe to see him come on towards pit road if that gets any worse. And indeed, it's exactly what he does, Connery, there. Down in P number 15, get a fresh car, preserve your safety rating, and carry on. Don't get the 1X that you just did going over grass.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what he's doing now, because there's extensive damage to that right front wheel arch, right front bumper, right front light as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually required repairs in terms of the iRacing system. So they'll be showing him a meatball flag saying you have to come in, otherwise you'll be disqualified if you don't come in the next 3 laps. But it's just a duo battling at the front right now. Is Joshua Anderson, Angelo Michel, and then it's going to be quite a gap of around about 2.5 seconds to Ravon, and he's basically in no man's land right now.
Interesting to note that Michel is keeping that gap to Anderson right now. The gap is 7 tenths of a second. You can see him right there. Through this part of the racetrack, of course, you are going to be single file, but let's listen in down the hill. He loses about 1/10 of a second there, Connery, and that's the thing. It is a game of temps around here. Mikel is holding on. He's trying to break that draft, and that's going to be important now as they come down Conrad Straight, because Mikel has not got that close slipstream that you need to have in these V8s. Being 0.8 of a second back, you're not going to get the slipstream.
No, you're not. And you just have to look at the lap times that last time by as well, because 2:08.5 for Joshua Anderson and a 2:08.7 for Angelo Michel. There's a 0.2 of a second deficit that Michel is having to work with right now. I think that's going to close up a little bit perhaps as they head their way across the line here. It's going to be a 2:08.5 for Michel. That's much better, but it's still Joshua Anderson still going that little bit faster, dipping into the 2:08.4s. So this is a game of cat and mouse right here, Will.
And interesting, Michel has actually lost 1/10 of a second this last lap, 2/10 lap before, but he's just staying within that distance. And part of that will come down to dirty air as well. The fact that Michel cannot keep close when they are in that dirty traffic. Right now behind, let's turn our attention to the battle going on. P number 7, P number 8. This is Calvin Prudent and Nico Abril going on right now. 2 drivers from Club France, and last time by, get that, 7 tenths per second, Abril was faster than that number 15 car.
Yep, Abril really closing in, but does he want to make an overtaking opportunity of it coming up the mountain? It's not usually something you'd see when you're in the first part towards the middle of the race. Usually it's a last lap desperate attempt to try and get yourself past unless your competitor makes a mistake. So they're just going to head their way single file coming up through turn number 6, turn number 7, turn number 8 up in towards Solomon Park right now. You just notice that Abril is just drifting behind a little bit, slaps the wall on the outside line, and wow, that could have been much, much worse.
It's like Darlington, what we're seeing right now. A lot of drivers did that in qualifying as well, Connery, as you said, as we've got side by side. Oh, we've got a car off. That is a driver of the number 21 machine. Let's get a replay from him and see what has happened. But he is on all forms of bad circumstances right now. Is Bruno Agri in the number 21 machine, was in 13th place right now, and just smacks the Etihad sign. And then smacks the sign again into the wall. He's not going to get any form of cheap discounts, is he?
No, not really. No. And, well, those are the same... well, one of those was the same walls that his teammate ahead of him, Nico Abril, hit. And then he also collects Nick Madsen as well. And Madsen, you have to say, well, he was kind of an innocent bystander in that one. Didn't really expect the car in front of him to come across in front of his nose. Luckily, he doesn't have too much damage as a result. What have you seen, Will?
Andrew Brown. There was a nice little almost 3-wide situation going on down into the chase that last time by, and Andrew Brown completely messed up his run into that corner. We're going to go a replay for you right now. 1 wide, 2 wide, thinking about 3 wide, a bit of a bump draft going on there, and that's what really hurt Andrew Brown. We're on board with him now. Gets on the throttle too early. Speed was all wrong for him. 1 driver, 2 drivers past him.
Yeah, that was a very interesting moment, heading themselves down in towards the chase, but it's again going to be side by side between two drivers that were involved in that one. Joseph Burton Harris trying around the outside here at Quarry on Nick Madsen, as Madsen has to hold the inside line and will hold the line for now and will hold the position, but will Burton Harris again try up towards the cutting now? No, he stays behind. That was a deliberate move for him, so he's not feeling confident that he can make the pass coming up the mountain at this stage in the race, and well, Madsen slightly squirrely on the throttle there again. Oh, he's gonna tank slam already, gonna hit the inside wall and gonna collect no one. But you can say that that one was going to happen with the way that car was being so squirrely off of the corner.
Yeah, let's get we got a replay, a look on board. Let's get a replay of the driver right now, Nick Hudson, in towards the cutting. You can see he was getting squirrely. Now into Griffin's Mount. That right-hander. 1, 2. Whoa. And the good thing is, he did what every sim racer should do. Stay on track where you are.
Yeah, a stationary target is much more avoidable than a moving one, and it's just good racecraft in general. If you have yourself an instant, just stay where you are, look at your F3 box, look at where all the other drivers are, and then judge if there's a big enough gap for you to get yourself spun back around. It's especially the case where there's not a lot of runoff at all, and you're still on the actual track, perhaps on the racing line. So it's good driving there from that particular driver. But the thing is, battle for P number 4, sorry, still on Matt.
Oh, we've got an incident.
Matten.
Sorry, Mick Dennis just avoided a big incident. This was involving Harris, who we talked about earlier on, and another driver behind him as well. That is Andrew Brown. They have had an incident down on the run to Murray's Corner, turn at number 23. The replay is up right now. Let's try and make some form of an understanding of what happened. Brown was going through the cutting, through the chase even, towards Murray's Corner. There's a driver turned around him there. And I'm trying to figure out who that one is. I just cannot see the car.
I think it's number 4. Yeah. Joseph Burton Harris had his own little spin coming out of the chase, just got up over the curb, got a bunch of oversteer, tried to overcorrect, then tried to overcorrect again, spun himself in the middle of the track, and that is exactly the instant that Andreas Brown had to slam on the anchors for. No contact between the two cars, amazingly. And also there was a driver there that got themselves through by the skin of their teeth on the right-hand side. I'll have to check what driver that was. That was actually Mick Dennis, then number 10, narrowly avoiding an instant. So two different strategies of avoiding instant. Either slam on the anchors or try and find the gap somewhere.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest incident we've seen at Bathurst in a broadcasted race in a couple of weeks at the very least. But you've got yourself Addison. He is leading the way right now. Get this, Connery, by 7.9 seconds over Jeremy Rabon.
Michel's around.
He is. And he's gone.
Yes, and also major damage to that car as well. It was major damage before even that instant happened. You just saw his front end all torn out. We'll try and get a replay of this one, but that's a very weird instant. He's coming from Frost's elbow, and it just seems like he tracks out, hits the wall. So maybe some form of technical issue here for Angelo Michel. That's a very, very weird instant to be having. Yeah,
definitely some form of technical issue there, because that is not the kind of crash that one would do in a normal circumstances. Michel's car there, you can see completely beaten up, and that's going to be a big shame for him, being number 1 in terms of iRating as well. That's a huge iRating hit for him.
Yeah, absolutely huge, and by virtue of being the highest iRating driver in the field, it's just going to hit him much, much worse with him dropping back through the field. He has a little bit of luck in terms of there are still some highly rated drivers that also have actually gone out of this race, the likes of Bruno Fontalba and Vitaly Kondrashov, which kind of cushions that blow a little bit, but Angelo Michel is going to be hurting in terms of the iRating at the end of this race, as it's going to be again another scrap for P number 3 as it is on track right now. So final step of the podium on the line between Mark Matter and Johan Hath, and also Michael Messing is going to get himself involved in this fight as well. Haven't really been talking about him, but he's just been working away, blogging those fast lap times, and now he's in a position to perhaps challenge for the final step.
Yep, as we have a look then from our aerial coverage brought to you by And One Design. 1, 2, and 3 of these drivers going at it for P number 3, 4, and 5 on track. There are your top 8 along the bottom of your screen. Anderson leads by a big way over Jeremy Ravon. And then you got yourself Mark Masson. He's a further 10 seconds back in third. And Johan Half rounds out your top 4. Michael Messing, Calvin Frudont, Nico Abril, and Eero Tournaman. They are your top 8 as it stands right now. But I'm having a look at this battle, the one that we were just talking about a moment ago, and they are so close. We're going to go on board with the driver of Messing right now. In just 1 second's time, indeed. Let's go on board with him now, because he is trying to close up, but he has not got the straight line speed to get past Johan Half in towards the chase. And that's interesting, really.
Yeah, very interesting indeed, but there could have been a little half opportunity there, and it may still be on coming down in towards the final opportunity. Michael Messing deciding to stay behind for now. Half had a little bit of a left front lockup coming down into the chase that just ruined his momentum a little bit coming through there, and just means that Michael Messing is just that little bit closer heading through turn number 1 of hell now. And this could be an opportunity coming down into number 2 if Messing can get the slipstream, get the slingshot past, but it doesn't seem like the draft effect is really working well for him at the moment.
It's not. As you can see there, he's gained only about half a tenth of a second. He's not been able to do anything at all. Behind, you've got another battle going on. This one is between the number 15 and 22 car on board with that number 22 machine right now. That is Nico Abril as they head themselves through the quarry towards the cutting. Again though, Abril could not make any form of an impact on that 15 car.
No, he really can't. And even though, well, they're all running almost identical lap times, very good traction off the corner, though, for the number 22 coming out of the cutting. But this isn't really an overtaking opportunity where you can capitalize on that sort of thing. So that must be very frustrating for Abril as it stands right now as they head towards the top of the mountain, heading towards the entry to McPhillamy Park. And there's still no opportunity for the 22 to use. You have to feel that he's the faster car at the moment. There's just no gap appearing at all heading in towards Skyline. And there's probably going to be no gap in, all the way until the chase now.
Yep, so we go back on board then as they head themselves through this section of corners. We're on board Nico Abril. The gap is 5 tenths of a second. The gap ahead, by the way, between Half and Messing is exactly the same as we head ourselves out of the Dipper towards Forest Elbow, towards the chase. And for Abril, again, the draft is not helping him.
No, and I think you may have to consider that there is a little bit of damage to the right front of that Porsche. The wheel is slightly exposed, so that could be making the difference right now in terms of straight line speed because of the extra drag that damage is causing. And well, you have to think if he didn't have that damage, maybe he'd already be passed by now. But as it is right now, it's going to be 3 laps to go for him to do anything.
Indeed so. As here is Anderson, he is leading the way. We've not talked about Anderson much, of course. He is a blue stripe driver. We haven't got any World Championship drivers in this event here today, but we have seen Anderson so many times before on a Race Spot race day.
Yeah, really have, and we have the Race Spot Supercup, don't we? That's well, we use the Porsches just before as a support race, shall we say, for the World Championship Grand Prix series. And Joshua Anderson, again, a driver that we've seen compete in that series, and right now he's basically establishing his dominance in this Porsche at this race, in this around about 3,600 strength of field race, and this is going to be a very good result for him. His main competitor, as we saw, went out of the race in Angelo Michel, so he has around about 11.1 seconds is the gap right now between himself and second place of Jeremy Ravon. But the battle for P number 3 is still on, and Mark Martin is currently trying to manage the gap to Johan Half and hope that Michael Messing decides to make Half's life difficult.
Yeah, it is very close between these guys, and Messing will go on board with him again. This is the battle for P number 3, 4, and 5 right now. Messing does seem to struggle, but let's go on board with him on the run out of the Dipper towards the chase. no change in position again. The draft isn't really working for these guys here this afternoon.
No, it seems like the draft effect in these Porsches isn't really all that strong as it is in some of the other cars, namely the GT3 cars is pretty strong. The Kias is also pretty strong as well, but Porsches perhaps not so much right now. And well, with the track where you kind of need the slipstream to get yourself past coming down into one of the heavy braking zones, that is not really helping the drivers.
And you can see Hessing then again as to go on board of him as he heads himself up Mountain Straight. The driver ahead of him, year and a half, doesn't get the draft either. And you expect, of course, one would argue, oh, but yeah, Masson's getting the draft from Half. Half is getting the draft from Masson. Half is not getting any form of advantage right now, although he might just be staying in line, waiting for the final lap.
Ooh. He looked for the move of the cutting, though, going very, very deep on the brakes. Is going to lose a little bit of time as a result. But Half is kind of thinking right now it's pretty much go time with about 1.5 laps to go for these guys. But as a result now, he's putting himself, well, not in as good of a position as he was heading in towards the cutting with going very late on the brakes there when the move, you have to say, wasn't really on.
Yeah, there's the three of them then as they come down through Skyline, and this is the S's. This is a beautiful shot that we've got then. The drivers heading themselves downhill, left, right, right, left, towards the dipper. Turn number 18 is now we go on board once again with the driver of Johan Huff versus Mark Matton. The gap is grown, it's up to 8 tenths of a second now.
Yeah, it is, and you just have to say now, Mark Matton has one hand, or one foot, shall we say, on that final step, but it isn't over until it's over. Anything can happen, especially at Bathurst, where those walls can take no prisoners. But Joshua Anderson coming through the final corner now will, well, actually coming through the first corner, is on the white flag lap here, so 1 lap to go for these guys in battle for P number 3 to sort themselves out.
Indeed so. So 3, 4, and 5 is still up for grabs. But get this, the gap now between your race leader, Joshua Anderson, and Jamie Ravron, who is in second place, is now 13.8 seconds. So that is how dominant Anderson has been in this event today. You can see there is a little bit of damage to that race car. We turn to another camera angle, you'll see there is some damage to the front end of that machine. But this driver has been absolutely dominant. Up to 14 seconds now is the gap between P number 1 and P number 2. Having a look then as they head themselves through turn number 2 towards the chase. Turn number 3. Is there any change in that battle? Matton third, Half and fourth, and Messing rounds out your top 5 as it stands. But anything can happen the second they get down to Conrad straightaway in a few moments' time. You've also got this driver. It is the driver of Nico Abriel there, who gets himself into the wall, down on the run through. I think that was the chase he was working himself through. Yes, indeed it was. Hitting himself into the wall, chasing down Calvin Fruland right now, and cannot do anything about this. A lot of action then on the white flag lap, but nothing involving your race leader, the driver of Joshua Anderson, who now comes down through Conrad straightaway for the final time, in towards the chase for the final time. Behind, it is worth noting that now Half has not got himself the opportunity, I would say, to get past the driver of Matton. Maybe Messing will have the chance over Half, but Anderson first will come through Murray's corner for the final time, and Anderson will win here today at Mount Panorama. Behind, we go back and you see then into the chase, bumping, beating, banging, upside down and round. We got ourselves the driver of Hearth, and he's out. He cannot get that car turned upside down. He's out of the motor race. He's stranded down at P number 5. Drivers are going around him right now, and wow, Johan Half is out of the motor race. It will be Matton in 3rd place, Messing in 4th place, and for Half, game over.
Absolute heartbreak for the number 9, and you have to say it really wasn't his fault. The car behind, Michael Messing, basically ran into the back of him coming through the middle of the chase, and there's nothing you can really do about that when a driver is being so aggressive. And even further bad luck to end up on your roof with no way to get yourself back on all fours, and that means you're going to finish at least 1 lap down and also cause a little bit of trouble for the drivers behind. I wish he had taken the toe a little bit quicker than that, but again, absolute heartbreak.
There's a replay then from year and a half. Let's get one more on board of him as he runs himself through Conrad straight away towards the chase. This is an end. That's what it's like to be 90 degrees perpendicular to the racetrack. But Joshua Anderson wins here today at Mount Panorama. You will call that dominant, Connery.
Yep, 15.4 seconds was the gap at the end. Absolute dominance for Joshua Anderson. As we mentioned before, his only potential challenger, Angelo Michel, had a couple of issues in the middle of that race. That means he finishes 5 laps down. But other than that, very confident, very comfortable race win for Joshua Anderson, and perhaps a driver that we will be seeing in the Bathurst 1000. 2 races going on for that one, October 14th at 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, sorry, GMT. That's the race that we'll be broadcasting. And then on Sunday, October 15th, in 1 in the morning, that will be broadcast by V8 Online.
Indeed, so there's a look then at your final race results from Mount Panorama. And Anderson wins by 15.4 seconds, 23 seconds ahead of Mark Masson. What a good battle, though, it was between Masson and Messing. And then the driver, of course, that we saw of number 9 car Perth, losing it down on the final lap of the motor race. There's a look at the final part of your results then. P number 11 through P number 20. 13 drivers finished this race here today. Steve Clay's down in the 13th position. And then your final 2 retirees. We had a couple of them here today at Mount Panorama, but Connery, that is what we expect.
Yeah, that's definitely what we expect. And, well, we failed to mention it during the race, but that was a 44-degree track temp out there right now. That is blisteringly hot. That's basically one of the hottest track temps that iRacing can possibly put out there. And so the tires weren't doing very well at all with the very, very slick service. And but otherwise, the drivers did a relatively good job considering the conditions. Yeah, indeed. So, and don't forget, so much more action coming your way on RacePot TV over the course of the coming days. We've got VLN Endurance Championship. That is tomorrow, round number 9, the finale, 2 p.m. GMT here live on RacePot TV and on iRacing Live. Then we welcome back the Neo Endurance Series. And while Connery, the Neo Endurance Series, we know, we love it. It is one of the best team racing championships in all the sim racing. They start with the 6 hours of Sebring. Yeah, they will. And, well, Neo Endurance Racing is back for yet another season. And, well, it's going to... That's when you definitely know Endurance season has started, is when the Neo Endurance season gets itself started. And I cannot wait to see what storylines we get to cover for this season. Yeah, indeed. So we've also got an emotional thing going on. It's the final round of the Classic IndyCar Series at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 1 day removed from the 6th anniversary of Dan Wheldon's death. The Classic IndyCar Series, however, will go and will do a full race distance on the 15th of October, this Sunday at 6 p.m. GMT. And while Connery, I'm broadcasting this one, the first race I ever broadcast was a memorial to Dan Wheldon. Going back to Las Vegas always has the emotions, but the show must go on. Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing more that Dan would have wanted than just for us to just keep racing, keep broadcasting. And that's exactly what we're going to see at Vegas in the Classic IndyCar Series. So definitely tune in for it.
Then Sunday night continues with the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. Move back by 15 minutes to 8:15 p.m. GMT. They are at Suzuka. And we've seen, of course, Suzuka for world's fastest gamer for the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. But the Skippies run over everyone when it comes down to Suzuka in that car.
Yeah, Suzuka is very, very interesting in the Skippies in that you have long drafting sections, but you have those tight sections as well for drivers to be able to catch up that draft deficit, which you don't get at a lot of tracks in the Skip Barber car. So Suzuka's always fun for that one. And again, it's going to be round number 10. And well, Jake Sperry will be joining you for that one. And well, it's just going to finish off what is a very, very good week for us here at RaceSpot TV.
Yep, and then just to add one more thing, you've got Monday Night Skippies in support of Calm Zone, and that'll be Monday night. May you be involved in Monday Night Skippies, Connery?
Sorry?
You, Rachel Whiteford, Linus Bromstrom?
Yes.
Go on, tell us about Monday Night Skippies.
Well, this season has been very, very interesting indeed, because we've basically been having full grids for pretty much every race. There was even a huge grid of VIR a couple of weeks back as well, which you don't usually get to say, but Monday Night Skippies with fantastic participation, better than it ever has been. The racing is very, very good as well, with the likes of Mark Mercer being back for pretty much every race. That makes a race exciting when Mark Mercer's in it. But yeah, fantastic fighting all throughout the field, as we come to expect from Monday Night Skippies, and definitely join us for it.
And of course, we have supported the Calm Zone for the last couple of months. We will continue to do so over the course of this year. We just donated £72.99 to the Calm Zone. And well, some would say that is a bit of a piss poor amount, but that is our broadcast fee from the World Cup of iRacing, going towards a good cause, Connery, in helping mental health charities in the UK.
Yeah, it is a very, very good cause indeed, and well, we need to do a little bit more to promote that little bit of money that we're giving to them, but and try and get other iRacers to try and support the Calm Zone as well, and well, just try to support the absolutely fantastic work that they do for mental health issues.
So that is it. That is our broadcast schedule for the next few days. You've been watching RaceSpot TV on iRacing Live. This has been Prime Time. The Porsche iRacing Cup at Mount Panorama. We have a winner. Congratulations to Joshua Anderson for dominating at the mountain. Good night. That was easy and boring.
Easy and boring.
Yeah. Whoops.